Are you tired of the old and ready for something new? Energy has felt heavy and hard recently with Mercury retrograde and all the things. But as we start getting back into our routine, it's the perfect time to check in with yourself about the changes that you want to make. We've all been offered a forced reset. So how do you want to show up going forward? In this live episode of The Elevated Life, we're sharing 3 tips to help you create a fresh start, whether it's a conscious transformation or an unexpected one. Hey, we're Britt and Chris Carmichael, and you're listening to The Elevated Life podcast. Throughout the 13 years we've been together, we've never ceased in our endless quest to better ourselves.
We've studied top experts, philosophers, and gurus. After years of personal self-experimentation, we found the tools for shifting your beliefs, moving through fears, and developing a positive mindset.
If you're ready for a breakthrough, then you're in the right place, because we're here to empower you to take control of your life with simple mindset shifts that create radical transformation.
We'll be diving into topics like personal growth, health, philosophy, spirituality, relationships, success, and mindfulness.
So create some space for yourself and get comfy. It's time to become the badass you were born to be.
This is such a perfect opportunity for all of us. You know, the world's coming back, we're all starting to get back into our regular routine, or we're starting something new, and it's always a perfect time to start asking yourself, what's going to happen in my life now? I've been this extra person for however long, and then what is going to be coming up in my life? How do I show up? How do I feel? What's going on? What is it that I really want? And making a reset, and us all kind of being forced to do this reset here. A lot of times we get to choose. It's all our own free will. I'm like, oh, well, now I'm going to do something different with my life. But sometimes the world makes you do something different. Sometimes it's not really in your hands. But what you can control is how you start to show up. I really think this is so timely. So many people have been asking about this. So many people are in that state of confusion, but they know they want something new and something different.
Yeah. Are you someone right now who's ready for change and transformation, even if it's being forced upon you and it's not a conscious choice? We know that change is the only constant, and when we can get comfortable through the ever-changing ups and downs of life, then that's when we can find our sense of peace. And when we find that center of peace and stillness, we can never be shaken. So this is a really important topic to remind you that change is always happening, whether you realize it or not, or whether it's forced upon you and it's a big, massive, life-altering change. It is a constant involvement and evolvement of us and our requirement of showing up and participating in life.
Yeah, so let's talk about the first tip. Our first tip is to get back to basics. This is always the foundation. This is what everybody screws up on. It's because it's simple. We always screw up on the simple stuff, and we always need to come back to the basics. Anytime that there's a massive change in our lives, what I like to do is strip everything back. We rewrite how we do our mornings. We rewrite exactly what we're doing in our business. We rewrite what we're doing at night, how we're intimate with each other. It's always coming back to those really basic foundations. You got to prioritize your health. You've got to be looking at your diet. You got to be thinking about, how am I sleeping? That way, when you do show up, you show up as the best version of yourselves. We are stuck in these bodies for this lifetime. And so what we need to be doing is making sure that we run that body the best that we can. Because when your body's feeling crappy, or when you're feeling sick, or when you're feeling overstressed or drained, or you've just been eating junk food nonstop, you don't show up that well. You don't show up for your partner. You don't show up for your business. You don't show up for the life that you really can lead. And so what you want to be doing is thinking, where have I been really effing up the basics? Where have I pulled back? Where have I gotten that quarantine weight going on? What is really going on? Have I just been pounding down the Oreos and Netflix? Because now it's going to be time for a change. If you've sat there and been stagnant in that energy for long enough, you end up becoming that energy. So what you're going to have to do is open up your vibrancy. You're going to have to really open yourself up. I love always to lead with an open chest. I think a lot of us, as we don't take care of our health, we get closed off. We start to clamp forward. And you want your energy to be fully open. Have that heart space open, have the solar plexus area open. That way you are being able to put your force out into the world.
Oh my gosh, it is really true. When change happens, it causes us to retreat, and that's okay. But what we do in that retreat is the most important. And Ramey says, thank you so much for this reminder, back to basics. And April says, time to reset for sure. You know, when it's a time of reset and we have to get back to the basics, that helps us to make sure that we're functioning at a normal level of just regular health and well-being. We're not trying to do anything extra. We're not trying to add on a million different things to make changes in our life. Really, when we make massive changes in our life, it's not about doing more, but just getting back to the basics and making sure that the basics that you're doing are supporting the foundation for that growth that is evolving.
Golly, I hope that you guys are really getting this part. This is what we do every single time we make a change. We scrap the whole plan. No matter if we're making a change in 6 months or a change in 3 months, again, the plan gets scrapped and we rewrite it. You have a moment to wake up every morning. You basically are dying every single breath and every single night when you go to sleep and re-emerging. So what are you going to re-emerge as? And if you want it to be powerful, it always starts with the basics and how you're treating yourself, not only your body, but inside your own mind. How kind are you being to yourself? What self-talk are you doing? What words are you saying? How are you expressing yourself to a partner? How are you showing up as that love?
So let's tune in. How are your basics right now? How is your health, your exercise, your connection with people? How are you feeling at this time? And do you feel like you can make some tweaks in your basics that would help to create a solid foundation for you to make those changes? Let us hear you in the comments below. What changes are happening in your life right now, or what basic do you need to up level to help you create that solid foundation? And you know, that leads us to the second tip. And when we're making a change, we have the opportunity. We have the freedom of choice, and we've forgotten that birthright. And our tip number 2 is to decide who you want to be. Every single moment, every single day, you are given the opportunity to let go of the old and learn the wisdom from each lesson that you've experienced from moment to moment. And when you're making changes, you can consciously choose to show up as a different version, a more evolved, a better version of yourself. And for me, that change started when I started asking the question, what would a kind person do? I decided that I didn't want to be bitchy anymore, that I didn't want anger to be my protective blanket, that I wanted to make a change and I wanted to choose kindness. And so I had to start with that question, what would a kind person do? And that helped me to decide, who do I want to be and how do I need to show up to be that person?
This also goes into the spot of when we play victim. Especially we've been talking about empaths a lot lately for our last few episodes. And it's so important. If you've played victim your whole life, if you blame the world, if you felt that way, this is your chance again. This is your chance to say, you know what? I'm not being victim anymore. It's time for me to step up. It's time for me to be a hero. This is your chance to decide. What role are you going to play in your life? What character are you going to play? Are you going to play a person that's going to be a doormat that everyone's going to walk all over and you're not going to feel like you get the love and appreciation and attention that you deserve? Or are you going to start coming out and demanding it? Are you going to say, hey, look, things were this way before, but now I'm different. This downtime has allowed me to re-see myself in a new light, to re-get invigorated with the amount of love that I feel in the world, the amount of connection that I want to have with other people. I want to change my financial life. I want to change my relationships. Make sure that you are embracing that dream. And what I will tell you is that whatever you decide you want to be, whenever you show up, be 10% more than that. So if you say, I'm going to be powerful when I come back, you're going to be powerful plus 10 more percent. Because what we tend to do, and what's one of the saddest things that I've watched people do, is they set the bar really low. One of the worst things you can do.
Or really high.
True. But what most people do is they set the bar low, and then they get it. And then they settle for that. And they're like, man, I did it. I finally accomplished that thing. And what you come to realize years later is like, I set the bar so low for myself. Like, what in the hell was I doing? And I'm not talking about burning out. I'm not talking about working 50,000 times harder. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about stripping away all the things that aren't working for you and start to look and pay attention to the things that are and start to show up as that person who does things that work in their life.
So when you decide who you want to be, you're going to have to say no to the old version that you were. And that may include your job, your relationships, your attitudes, your beliefs. You're going to leave behind a lot of things when you make these changes, but all for the best. Growth only happens outside your comfort zone. And if you're in your comfort zone and wanting change, then that's not comfortable.
Yeah, and I'll tell you that there's an exercise that I like to do. I don't even know if I've ever shared this before, but whenever I want to make a big change in my life, when I see that there's a new version that I'm evolving into, and I see that there is an old version, and I'm kind of splitting between those and parting ways, what I like to do is I like to picture myself on a path, and I'm on a path and the road forks. And so what I do is I imagine that I'm split into two, and there's an old version of myself next to me, and there's the new version of myself, and I'm in that body. And so what I do is I tell the old version of myself, thank you. I thank you so much. You've got me here. We've walked this road together for a long time. But here's what's going to happen. The old version of yourself, you're either going to stay here or you're going to walk down that path. But I'm going to head down this other fork because I think there's new opportunities available for me down that way. But always, when you're going to kill off that old version, when you're really going to tell them goodbye, you have to honor them. You have to thank them. You can't be angry at the way that you were, or the mistakes that you made, or the way that you showed up, or the fact that you didn't speak up when you know that you needed to, or that you didn't tell that person that you love them. It's just, you have to realize that that was for a time in your life, and that you did the best that you could do at that moment with the information that you had and the place that you were. So when you show up in this new life, and when you show up in this new role, you have to realize that you needed that last part. You needed those people who were mean to you. You needed them because it wouldn't have forced you to grow. It wouldn't have forced you to come to that fork in the road and decide to split off. So make sure that you're honoring not only your old self, but all of the struggles and the failures and the mistakes that you've had along the way. I wake up every morning and I do a big thing of gratitude. It's a gratitude for everybody, but one thing that I do during my gratitude that most people don't do is I'm grateful for the mistakes that I've made the day before. It's because if I had not made them, I would not be where I am today.
And that leads us to the third tip. Give yourself grace through the growing process. You're going to fuck it up. You're going to fall down. You're going to make mistakes. But just like filming a movie, it's not done in one take. There's a lot of mistakes along the way so that you can learn and adjust and shift and change and redirect your life. Because when you're making these changes and you're leaving behind an old pattern that you've been operating from for decades, you're gonna slip back into that. And the most important part when it comes to slipping back into your old ways of being is to not beat yourself up, to not feel bad and just make it worse. Well, I've eaten this burrito, I might as well eat 95 other donuts and fuck it, I guess I'm just never gonna lose weight or be healthy. Don't beat yourself up if you make a mistake. Know that you will learn from that, and as you make those mistakes, after you make the decision to change, they become easier to correct. They become easier to recognize and go, oh my God, I did it again. That was my old pattern, and now I'm recognizing that I had a pattern. The problem before the pattern was that you were unconscious to it and you were letting it run you. But now that we become aware when we make mistakes, we're conscious, we're aware, and that is the best gift. Not to beat ourselves up because we're aware we made a mistake, but to celebrate the fact that we realize that we made a mistake. Let's course correct and choose again tomorrow.
Holly, that's so powerful, and that's the version we're really talking about. The self-aware version, where you can literally watch yourself do things and then think, I messed this one up. It'll be okay. I mean, when we do filming, when we do lives, we do all stuff. Something
Our
screws
podcast.
up. Oh my gosh, we recorded our first podcast yesterday.
We did it, guys. We finally filmed the first podcast for the Elevate. God dang it! I keep doing that. We're so used to filming here for you guys on YouTube and the live videos. I keep calling it film. We recorded our first podcast.
Yeah, and that new version of yourself, you need to add grace in there. So it's not always just about being a badass. It's not always about just going, after those kind of things.
We recorded and it didn't even play back. It didn't even have the audio.
Yeah.
Did we beat each other up?
No.
Were we mad at ourselves?
No.
Hell no. Do we laugh about it?
We would have beaten ourselves up though in the past.
Oh, totally.
We would have said, I can't believe we didn't do it right.
We would have been fighting and yelling in the closet at each other. I'd probably throw all my dresses at you and been like, what the hell? Why we're not doing it right? But you know what we did instead? We fucking laughed, and then we Googled, why isn't the audio working in GarageBand?
Yeah.
And we found the answer.
So here's what I want you to do. Well, if you've needed some grace in your life, if you've come to a part where you know you're going to make big changes, that grace you're going to need it. It's going to be one of those things that has to come up because you're going to be saying no to people. You're going to be fumbling over yourself. The new starts are always, what people don't tell you about fresh start, they're hard. Fresh starts are hard. I mean, hell, you've been doing things for the same way for a long time. The pattern is built in. It's automatic behaviors. I mean, just like when you step in the shower, you do the same order every single time in the exact same way. Every time. Next time you get in the shower, notice yourself and be like, oh my gosh, I really am.
Do you know the first thing I do? It's so weird. I get in and I let all the water wash my face. Like first thing, just stick my face in the water because that cleanses like all the people we've seen in our aura. But I open my mouth.
Do you?
I open my mouth and let all the water
I don't do that.
like wash out my mouth too. Maybe it's from talking. And
that's amazing. I mean,
isn't that weird? I just I don't know. That's weird. TMI guys. But like everything. We have a routine. Like you really do.
So what you have to realize is that not only are your physical patterns routines and the way that you do things, the way you drive, the roads that you take to work are almost going to always be the same. Your thoughts are almost always going to be the same. And that awareness that we talked about is something that you're going to have to cultivate. You're going to have to sit there and be with the emotions that come up, but this new version of yourself can deal with it. So if you've needed that grace, if you haven't given that opportunity to yourself, it's a great built-in, what I want you to do is just take your arms out and wrap them around your body and just tell yourself, holy smokes, I love you.
I forgive you.
Yeah, we're in this together. I'm so happy to be here with you. We're gonna be here all of our lives. Thank you. You are my best friend, and we're gonna crush this. We have got this. We are stronger than we've ever thought, and we're going to commit to that excellence. Remember, it's not about perfectionism. It never will be, because you'll never get it. There's no such thing as perfect. What you can do is continuously pursue excellence and continuously allow that grace to flow into your life so that you're always forgiving yourself. You're always saying, hey, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and see if I can do a little bit better. And if tomorrow you don't do a little bit better, that's fine too. You've got more days until your days run out, and then after that, it's fine too. So always be giving yourself that grace. Stop taking life so seriously all the time. This is a big play. We're meant to be here and have joy, to meet wonderful people, to do great things, to experience nature, to have animals that freaking love us, to be able to get out there and serve. And so if you're not doing that, build that into this new version of yourself. If you haven't been letting yourself live life, now is the time to live. Don't just stay in your house all the time as a recluse. It's time to get out. It's time to feel yourself. It's time to connect with people. It's time to be a part of a world that you want to create.
Yeah, show up and participate. I want to tune into all the live comments. You guys are going crazy, and it makes me so happy. Our OGs from the Goddess Gathering are here. Raimi, Tamika, so good to see you guys. Let's see. Diana says I do the same thing, washing my face and my mouth in the shower.
I got to pick this up.
It's a thing. You got to cleanse everything from the inside out. Accept, manifest, move forward with that positive energy. Yes. Hell yes. Let's see. What else do you guys have? Balance. Love this message today. My favorite couple dropping the most beautiful knowledge. Accept that version and move forward. How many of you need a little bit of forgiveness and grace through your growing process? How many of you are tired of beating yourself up? This is a topic that we come against all the time when we're talking to empaths and healers, is that we're our own worst critic. We're constantly beating ourselves up, but all we want to do is love and give joy to people.
Golly, and this, you brought up empaths. I've been saying this for the past few weeks now. I love empaths. To all you empaths out there, you have my heart right here. It's so beautiful to see people who want to show up and love. Empaths are literally just my favorite. And if this is something you really need to work on, if this is something that you don't really know how to overcome the criticisms, you don't know how to show up and be your most positive self, you don't know how to be that badass, you don't know how to serve without giving all of your energy away,
and you're tired of being a fucking doormat,
please come join us Tuesday, where we are teaching live in our membership club about how to become a badass empath, because I know that this is a lot about what the world's going to change to be. And if you don't know how to make those changes, we want to 100% show up and serve you as best we can. If you want to take that conversation further with us, we want to help you, because we need empaths in the world. Yeah. They touch people. They help heal people just by understanding them. Mm-hmm. So many of us don't feel understood. We don't feel that connection. And here comes the empath, shows up, and they can not only see the pain, but they can feel it.
And transmute it.
What a phenomenal empath can do a lot of times, and what they naturally do is they take on the pain. They become that martyr. They become that one who dies for our sins. And so they bring on all that pain into themselves. And if you've been a person doing that, but you don't know how to manage that energy,
you don't know what to do with other people's pains, you turn it into physical weight, which is what I did. If you don't know how to release that energy or transmute it, you're going to take on their negative energy as if it were your own, and it will affect you as if it were your own. And you're going to be left wondering, why? Everything seems to be okay in my life. Why do I feel burnt out and exhausted? I think this is going to be one of the most powerful trainings that we teach inside the Elevated Life Club, because we're empaths. We understand what it feels like to let our boundaries be squashed and to let people walk all over us and to feel like a doormat, because we want to love and we want to be of service. But we realize that being of service and being loving needs to come with a little bit of toughness. And that's why we called it badass empath, because empaths have forgotten the most important armor that they have is that protection of love. Not just that we're giving it freely, but we also have to have an armor of love that protects us from the bullshit that people try to do and squash and steal your energy. Last week here on the Elevated Life, we talked about what to do with energy vampires and how to stop them. And we got so many messages saying, thank you so much for sharing that, because I feel bad for saying no or for cutting off those energy vampires, because I feel like my job is supposed to love and supposed to give, but you're not loving and serving people if they're not willing to receive it.
Golly. Mic drop on a Friday, y'all.
Mic drop on a Friday. Ramey says, empaths unite. I am watching from the bathtub and I am feeling so fired up. Yes, I want to know, how do you feel now that we've reminded you to get back to the basics, and change doesn't have to be hard. It's scary, sure, and it's uncomfortable, but you get to decide the direction you want to go. And instead of beating yourself up for messing up or falling down, give yourself, just fucking laugh it off. Like, oh my God, what a derp. I can't believe I just did that. Oh my gosh, won't be doing that again. Instead of being like, oh, I'm such a fucking idiot. I'm so stupid. I'm never going to be good at this. No one's ever going to love me.
Hold on. Stop doing that. Don't do that anymore.
Don't do that.
Don't do that anymore. And especially don't do that to your partner. Don't say that about your partner in public. I mean, if you have, I see so many people that when we hang out with couples sometimes, they just beat the piss out of their partner. I'm like, what did you guys do before?
It's not a competition.
What's happening here? Like, you guys are a team. Like, get back to it. Make sure you don't beat yourself up either. Just laugh it off. I mean, when you learn to laugh at life, when you learn to stop taking yourself and everything about everything else so seriously, and you realize that, I think for so many of us, we think so many people are thinking about us and judging us. People aren't doing that. They're judging themselves all the time. And the only time we really hear judgment from other people is when they want to deflect from their thing. I mean, remember back when you were in second grade and you stood up in front of the class and you gave the wrong answer and everybody laughed? Everybody laughed because they were uncomfortable and they were diffusing the energy because they didn't want to be the one with the wrong answer. So make sure that you are always championing yourself, championing your partner. That voice inside your head should sound like a cheerleader. If it's not, come be with us. I mean, shit, we will show you exactly how to rewrite those words in your brain. That stuff, once you get that stuff locked down, your goals and stuff happen so much easier because you're not beating yourself up. I mean, shit, if you drive next time you get in your car, try driving it with the brake pressed all the way in. It's hard. You don't go anywhere. And that's what you're doing with your self-talk. So if you're an empath and you're feeling things and you've been negative to yourself, you are your greatest hypnotist.
All right, I'm checking into y'all's comments. I'm always brought to your lives when I need to hear something so amazing and beautiful. Yes, I'm an empath and I am learning to balance this too.
Get him, empath.
And how to handle the energy. Diana says, will you touch on having imposter syndrome as an empath? Because I have had it and have seen other empaths feel so unsure that they're even empaths and turning it into imposter syndrome.
Yeah, we'll do that on the live.
Absolutely. God, I'm telling you guys, they need to make the font bigger, like hashtag, like bigger font.
Tiny fonts.
Like, come on, guys. You have to squint. All right, we'll definitely be covering that. Interesting. Imposter syndrome as an empath. Yeah, I would love to dive in deeper to that because, we really are given a gift, and the only kind of imposter that I can feel like is that we feel like we're not worthy of being that loving vessel and that channel for love for other people. Yeah,
and that thought is totally a scam and it's total bullshit. So the parts of you that feel like you're in like the second that you help change a person's life, the second that you feel their energy and replace it with something beautiful, the second that you give away that love, whether you're making love to your partner in the bed or whatever, whether you're just having a conversation with a stranger, when you express that love and when they feel it, you see them light up and they've been in just a crap mood for forever, you know it. You know it on a deeper level. You don't need anyone's approval. You don't need to feel like you're somebody else. When you start to help empaths and the world starts to change and they start really tapping into that power, it is incredible. It is a deep well of power, and it's almost like breathing. So many of the empaths have crappy breathing, just like we all do. It's all up in the top, and so they only tap into this part of the power. They only breathe in through the nose. They only tap into this chest part. What we're going to teach you to do is breathe down into the belly, to grab all of that power and all of that will, and to realize that we're the culmination of so many years of evolution. We've come from so many survivors. We have made it through pandemics. We have made it through droughts. We have made it through floods. We have made it through crazy presidents. We have made it through literally everything.
Crazy ex-boyfriends.
True that. and we are still here, and we are ready to show up, and we are ready to serve. And that is your strength as an empath, is that you never give up, that you keep fighting, that you keep pushing forward. So many empaths kill themselves over the energy levels. They drain themselves so much, but they do it out of love. And what greater thing could you do? If you're always doing things out of love, you're always doing it right. And the second that you forget that thing is the second that you feel like an imposter. Because when you're focused on how much you serve and on how much you love, nothing else really matters. No one's opinion, no one what they think about you, none of that stuff matters. It's what you're doing and the response that you're getting from the people that you're doing it with. The amount of messages that Britt and I get for the work that we do is absolutely incredible. And how much that lifts us up, it just drives us on our mission. Mm-hmm. Focus on that. Focus on the people in your group who you're helping, who you're bringing light to their lives, and you will fill yourself up more than you ever have before.
You guys
I'm fired up today.
I know. I'm going to have to reel him in. Actually, we're going to film. You guys like the 14 Days of Elevation so much that it inspired us to create an entire new series where we're going to teach you the 5 most popular meditations that we get asked about all the time in a free upcoming series. So we're so excited to film that today, and we just pumped him up with all the good vibes that he needs for all this recording we're going to do today. I have chills too. Oh my God, you guys radiate love, and this is why I was able to tune in and ask that.
Love this.
Oh my gosh, you are sweating like.
Listen, I'm gonna pour all my energy onto you guys. Let's do this. We are ready. This is gonna be a new year. Listen, let's start off. This is gonna be a new year. Everything that's happened before today, let's scrap it. From this moment forward, decide who you're going to be, get back to all of your basics, give yourself that grace, and know that you are a badass. If you don't know it yet, come join us on Tuesday. We'll be teaching you how to get into that mentality. Not only that you think it, but that you feel it, that you act on it, that's who you show up as.
Yeah, so come join us at theelevatedlifeclub.com, where we will pump your ass up full of good vibes and help you break through the fear that stops you from shining your light and being the badass that you were born to be.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the Elevated Life Podcast. Want more? Join us at theelevatedlifeclub.com for mindset upgrades, lifestyle hacks, and spiritual tools to elevate your soul.
Each month features a new masterclass, meditation, yoga practice, and more to help you transform your life one step at a time.
Come join the 7 or Above Club.